Good evening, friends. I hereby call this meeting to order. Welcome to the fourth speaker meeting of the vibrant year. We are privileged to have Mr. Sunil Gala as our guest speaker today. Welcome, Sunil ji. Now I will tell Sashank, Rotarian Sashank, to introduce our guest speaker today, Sunil ji Gala.
Thank you. Good evening, Rotarians, spouses, and a warm welcome to Sunil Bhai Gala, his wife, Preeti Gala, and we have him as our esteemed speaker, a celebrity speaker, as I was just said, and indeed, let me have the pleasure of introducing Sunil Bhai. Sunil Bhai's real name, Gnanesh Gala. What is Gnanesh? The king of education. He's lived it. He's headed Navneet education from the time that he's taken it public, he's taken it across the world, and we have him here to take us through that, the history or the experience of what he has done for the company. Not only for the company, not only for the business, but he's broadened it across to other realms. Education was the ethos, the publication was the start. Education was next. E-education, e-learning as we just spoke of. That was another spearheading. Schools, that was another business which he moved into. Going broader, he went into real estate. Real estate, we have pretty buildings across in the city, even in our neighborhoods, which are the brainchild and the babies of Sunil Bhai. Going further, he's also gone into NBFCs and AIFs. So essentially, this is the business side of Sunil Bhai. Another important aspect is, and a lot of us may not even be aware, is that Navneet is otherwise a family-started business. Navneet was started by 6 brothers initially, 6 brothers including Sunil Bhai's father and the 5 other brothers. The family has lived it, has lived over the years, not only lived it, grown multifacetedly, as I just said. And Sunil Bhai has been an important key or an important element to run it, to keep the family together, to run it together, to grow it together, and nobody separates. They grow together is a thing. Because in our present setups, apna Mia, Bibi and Bacha, we don't even think beyond that. But here is a person who is heading a company and who is also taking the whole family together. Well, talking of family, I'll move on, and it is let's say the thing that he's got from society. He plans and he works and he gives back to society. He heads Navneet Foundation, which is it works into various education and rehabilitation, health, and other aspects of societies. So that is the other side of Sunil Bhai, where he gives back to society what he gets from it. So without much ado, I can keep speaking. He's a personal friend, a family friend too. The fathers knew each other, and it's such a pleasure to bring Sunil Bhai to the club. So without much ado, present Sunil Bhai Gala.
Thank you, Shashank. Good evening to every one of you. First of all, Dilip Bhai, Shashank, whatever credit that you gave me of me speaking today, please, I would like to clarify. I am not a professional speaker, not an expert on the subject that I'm going to talk today. Thankfully, I believe none of you knows about the subject that I'm going to speak today. It was, I think, intentionally done. But I assure you that the topic that I'm going to talk today probably not only will help the male members, but more to the female members as well. I will try and keep the discussion little interactive. I request all to participate. And the time allotted to me, given to me, I would rather spend more time in Q&A, because I'm sure when I speak about the subject, I'm sure a lot of questions that may come up in your mind. So, the topic that I'm going to talk today, if I talk about little harsh language, then it is destroy, or little lower harsh is dissatisfaction or a satisfaction. So, having created a wealth, then I'm going now thereafter, having created, or we are likely to create more and more, what are the next possibilities? Is it destroying something, or it is satisfying something? I'm sure most of us here, particularly post-pandemic, would have really had a great smile, either growing their own businesses, growing their own professions, or investing rightly, smartly in the country. But then, question to me, having created the wealth, question to me is what next? So my topic, as you might have understood, that wealth, a destroyer or a satisfaction. That's the topic that I'm going to talk today. I will split the discussion in two parts. One is, and when we talk about these two parts separately, we will also understand why I'm saying this. So the first part, what I believe is very important to all of us, is family understanding. It could be nuclear family. It could be joint family. It could be very large joint family like my family. So to me, family understanding to have is very, very important. Otherwise, आज का जो पैसे कमाए, जो भी wealth create की, who knows what will be the future, for the reasons that we'll talk today. And the second part that I will be talking is the structure to manage the wealth. We'll get little in detail later. So what I've observed, now whatever I'll be speaking is an experience, because as Sasank said, I'm involved in various community activities as well. And I come across so many examples that it made me think that what are the solutions to this? What I mean is that having created wealth, and at times we see there is sudden growth of wealth. धीरे धीरे wealth बनती है, वो पचती है, लेकिन sudden growth of wealth पचने में तकलीफ होती है. So I've seen families, little again harsh word, splurging their wealth on unwanted or unwarranted areas. Then situation becomes uncontrollable and, more importantly, not sustainable. So I'll briefly talk about the solutions to that, what at Navneet we have done, as well as what I feel is an appropriate thing that each one of us should really implement. And therefore, I'm saying that many of us may feel क्या ज़रूरत है इस चीज़ की, लेकिन believe me, if something that I'm going to speak about, if done by each and every families, definitely it is going to help somehow. So I would suggest you all to make a family understanding, whatever name that our lawyers give that. Briefly talk about the first point that what we have done at Navneet. So briefly we talk about the business that we are in, the profession that we may be in, and various areas of activities that we are likely to get into. I'm saying this particularly for a little larger family. Many of the family members, they really do not know what exactly we do. They know that we are in publishing business, we are in pharmaceutical business, but what all that we do, they really do not know, particularly the homemakers. Homemakers, again, a very big responsibility, let me confess that. But they may not be aware of what exactly is being done at the business. Next point I would suggest, so I'm talking to you that these all it has to be documented. The family understanding of what I mean is, please try document that so that it's not only read today, but it will be read forever. You can, of course, amend that document as many times as you want. The second point that I suggest that we should write the philanthropy interest that the family has or likely to have. This is very, very important from our next generation point of view. Next generation may not have seen the difficulties, what Rotaries or many NGOs are doing. Why are we all doing? Because there is humongous need in the society. So that we have to cultivate that thinking style that yes, philanthropy also is one part of responsibility in their life, and therefore we should write about the family's philanthropic interest. We have to also define family values. I believe everyone are at this stage because of certain values. Is our next generation going to follow those values? So I suggest, so I may give you a couple of areas or examples. So, for example, respect for elders. How important is that? What we have been doing so far. If we just write them, the trust that we have built, not only within the family, in the society, that also we briefly write a couple of words there. The humility that we need to have across your every activity in your life. Hard work. I'm sure at this age, most of us would have gone through a very, very great hard work, and therefore we have seen the success today. Next generation may not have seen that. And excellence, that we need to excel in each and every area of activity, be it business, be it relationship, everywhere we should excel. So briefly write about all these areas that will really add value. Now, if these values are written, read by each and every family member, including young ones, and regularly shared with them, I feel that this will create harmony, bond, and other understandings, for rather better understandings within the family. I've seen families have benefited. I've seen my family benefited. Believe me, to write this document, particularly large family like ours, it took 2 years. There were so many topics that we took in, which also few of them I will try and talk today. And every topic had a debate, discussion. But finally we came to a conclusion and we wrote that document. Next thing that I would suggest to write in that document is what are the rights of each and every family members. So this may not be really more applicable to a nuclear family, but if it is a joint family, it is very, very important. So we have to define this right, the reasonable and equitable standard of living for each of the families or family members. And in that, I'll give you a couple of examples. You may find it a little funny also if you are nuclear family, but this has really helped us. So we have defined car policy for the family. Now, just for an example, if there are two brothers who are together in a business, and if there is no clarity on purchase of car, then there will be always, because you see, internally we may understand between the two brothers, but your rest of the family members, your society, they do not understand why this decision is taken. So I can give my example. I have been very open about it, that what in our family we have done is for the eldest working member of the family, we have one range. For the spouses of that working members, we have another range. For the children who have joined business, we have one range, and children who have not joined, we have another range. So we have that clarity. There is no confusion at all. Housing policy, that also we should have clarity on. Why I'm saying this, I would say even for nuclear family also, if we write, seated with your children, that should we have, what size of house should we have, how many more houses should we have? In a large family, that becomes more again relevant. Otherwise, sab apne apne tarah se kuch na kuch acha lagega, they will go on buying that. So we should have a policy for that. Education policy, make compulsory in writing that at what qualification will your children be allowed in the business. Make that compulsory so that automatically they will be driven by that writing that they have to do that. Now, how to do that is a different story, but they should have clarity right from their childhood, what all education that you should have. Or at what level, not what education, but maybe double graduate or further, whatever that you may have to write. We have, funnily, we have also decided, we have discussed and written the marriage policy, again, little relevant to larger family, that one family member really makes a big fat wedding, the other family member may not. Just think what society will start thinking about the two families or a joint family. So we have a clarity on that as well. Investment policy. In our company or in my family, no one is allowed to do personal investments for earning. So therefore, whatever that we do it jointly. No personal investment. Otherwise, what happens? That whoever has an interest in investing in the other areas, their interest in the business is lost. And therefore, then question will arise, who is contributing what? So therefore, we have clarity on that as well. Then, having written the rights, there are few obligations. Again, let me tell you, I'm briefly touching upon the subject. If you all decide to do this, you'll have to sit with your consultant, lawyer, experts, to really write the document yourself. So we have also written obligations of each and every family members. So what are the couple of points that we have written? Adherence to family values. Now, as I said in the beginning that we write values. Now, if someone does not adhere to those values, then what are the punishments? What are the consequences that we have defined? We have also have, that's fine, no? We have also written dispute resolutions. So whenever we have differences, we see to it that we sit across for whatever number of days required, we resolve them. Very important thing, we have to encourage healthy habits. Now, that also is, we have seen in my family particularly, that how much important health is wealth. We have always been saying so. So if we do not have great health, then what is the meaning of this wealth? I'll not touch upon more on the other areas. One important area for my large family is family employment policy. Means what are the entry criteria? What do you do with the female members of this family, particularly the daughters or the daughter-in-laws? How will you involve them? Will you make them partners? Will you just pay them salary? First of all, will you let them allow work? That's all that is clear. And then retirement policy, succession plan. Also, family holidays retreat is so important to create bond among each other. This all has really helped us. So this could be different for each of the families. Family only would know what should be written, but my sincere request, suggestion is that having created wealth, please have this document in writing. We have made it compulsory to sign also. It's not just in writing, but all of us have signed them so that at least we can say you have read it. That way I would suggest, this is my, through experience I am saying that this has really helped us a lot. Now, I will go to the next topic that I feel also is very, very important, that we all of us have created wealth. Where is wealth residing? That is the question that I have in my mind. Probably if few of you can answer, we don't want to know the number, but where does your wealth reside? It means, is that in individual names? Is that in your private limited company? Is that in your partnership firms? How do you then thereafter invest from these entities or individuals? So I'm sure many of you may have, I'm also saying that many of you may have planned already, but with whatever experience or the connects that I have, very few have really thought on that. So what my thoughts and my views, of course, experts, chartered accountants, lawyers are seated here. They may have a different view, but what I feel residing or creating your wealth in a family private trust is the best option available today. Do you have any immediate no to this? Then, yeah, very important. I will talk on this simultaneously comparing it the will that we make. Let me give you a little funny example, or rather a real story. When I was giving my lecture a couple of years ago in front of 700-800 people, that time I had not thought much on private trust. But I asked the audience, how many of you have made wills? Yeah, like someone has raised a hand, anyone else can raise hand if they have made so. Will also is a very, very basic document that we all should make. Who knows when one will complete 100 years? And if you do not have will, think of the consequences. So, of course, will is a solution. At least that is the basic document that each and everyone who have passed the age of 45, 50 should make one. Both the spouse and the male member, both. Rather, both the members should make a will. But now why I'm saying private trust, that I will simultaneously compare it with the will also. Will, I'm sure all of you might have read about it, will, or understood, particularly female members. I'm sure what is your immediate reaction? Is will really an important document? So jokingly, I forgot the joke. So when I spoke that time, I told them that few of my friends, cousins, they also feel that their parents should make a will, but when they talk at home to make a will, तो parents कहते हैं कि हमको ऊपर जाने का रास्ता clear कर रहे हो क्या? So that was the joke then, and everyone really had a great laugh then. So when I talk about the will is a document that on completion or on someone dies, the wealth of a member gets distributed to the beneficiaries, that whatever they have written. If will not there, then huge confusions, believe me, huge confusions. But in the will, finally the wealth gets distributed to the beneficiaries immediately on death of a person. What will that family member do with that wealth? There is no clarity. And therefore, I am suggesting private trust. First and foremost, estate planning. So, very, very effective estate planning can be done. Minimal conflicts among the family members thereafter. Do you know that can you give your wealth to unborn babies? Through will, yeah. Through will can you give? Through will can you give? No. I am saying unborn baby. To be. So can you give wealth to them through a will? I don't think so. You can give. You can't give. You can't give. Yeah, he's there. You can give wealth in a private trust when effective planning is done. Incapable beneficiaries. Incapable beneficiaries, what I mean is not the people who really do not know how to plan their wealth, but disability, mental illness, or many other types of diseases if someone has, and if they are not capable to manage the wealth, then how will you give them the wealth? It is possible through private trust. Particularly in Hindu families, will भी बनाते हैं, then daughter, their children, उनको normally wealth देते हैं तो एक fixed sum में. It's not by way of a percentage. Percentage में डाला, and because there were reasons, the lawyers would know, percentage में डाला तो in-laws कितना हैरान करेंगे पता नहीं है. And therefore, can you make an effective planning for your daughters and their children? It is quite possible and very much possible through a private trust. Let me give you one real example. There was a family from my community, Kutchi community. 50 years ago around, they had made a will. Unfortunately, most of the male working members died between the age of 50 and 60. Very big businesses. They could have made a will, they might have made a will, but if the wealth would have gone to the lady members who didn't knew about managing a wealth. Forget managing a wealth, writing a check she didn't knew. How to deposit money in the bank she didn't knew. But because of this trust, family trust that they had created, post the death of a male member, wife lived 40 years without even doing her hand this way. And how? So a private trust was made for the family. Inflation adjusted fixed sum that was decided then was received by her every first day of the month. What kind of car should she have was already defined, that she got every 5 years or 6 years. what kind of jewelry that she should be able to buy, monies were given. And of course, that trust was managed by professional, and therefore the trustees were the professionals. So therefore, she never had to beg for her own wealth. God forbid, if unfortunately, if all the family members dies in an accident, what happens to your wealth? You can define that as well in the private trust, so that it is put to the right use. That's the main thing that I am saying. If you want to distribute your wealth or give away something to your non-family members, and if you write that in a will, believe me, you may have lots of issues. Therefore, you can define that for n number of years, you can support a person to whom you really care for and continue giving the wealth, money amounts to them. It means what I all spoke about is the estate planning. The next is, it really protects your assets. It keeps creditors away. Very easy distribution of wealth, because in a private trust, not necessarily कि 10% इधर जाएगा, 25% इनको जाएगा. The trustees can decide how much does he or she wants to give it to the beneficiaries. It also helps preserving family values. In the family understanding also I talk about the values. Here also I'm talking about the family values. So you can have restrictions to transfer wealth in certain conditions. So if the beneficiaries are not well behaved, trustees can take a different view, so that automatically family values possibly can be reserved. And as I said, qualified professionals also can manage this. You might have heard across the globe, particularly in developed countries, most of the banks are managing thousands and thousands of trusts for the families. This practice has started even in India. Many banks have started that, and they are ready to give that. So, as a conservative families like us, we may think that trustees should be from the family, but yes, better if family members are capable enough to manage the wealth, then trustees should be from the family, but if not, even this facility is available. Another thing that I have observed, Shashank, that nowadays, most of you in profession, of course good for professionals, but not really great for the business people. जितनी बड़ी हमारी फाइल बनती है ना, इतने challenges, issues ज़्यादा हो जाते हैं. Individual files I'm saying. जितनी भी बड़ी होंगी, challenges बड़ी है. So if your personal balance sheet is very thin, I think safeguard is more. So it is better to keep your balance sheet as thin as possible, shift everything in your private trust. You can also do philanthropic your interest on a long-term basis. एक बार will में लिख दिया that to give some certain number amount to a trust, but then what that trust does we really do not know. So you can have long-term planning of your philanthropic interest. Again, my sincere request that will is must. वो करने के बाद भी private trust, try to think, talk to your consultants, and do little bit few challenges in the will that also I should mention here. That will is easily challengeable by the beneficiaries, and then it really gets into mess. As I said, the beneficiaries may not be able to manage the wealth. To transfer of properties, then probate, deed 2 साल का लफड़ा, वो सब भी their challenges, and you can't really do long-term planning for your next generation. So these are the various benefits of private trust. So these are mere my personal experience having talked to experts. I felt that if we can implement this, that will really help you. So my title again, wealth, a destroyer or a satisfaction. If you do both, family understanding and reside your wealth in a private trust, I'm sure lot of mental satisfaction you all will have. I did not touch upon my last point, the benefit of private trust, purposely because everyone feels, oh, aega tab aega, which is inheritance tax. इनहेरिटेंस टैक्स आप लोगों ने कितने लोगों ने एस्टेट ड्यूटी नाम पहले सुना होगा विच गॉट एबोलिश्ड इन 1984 but most of the developed countries in the world have inheritance tax and believe me the way India is progressing inheritance tax coming into our country is not far away. It may take 5 years 10 years I don't know but when I do not know but it will for surely come. Your next generation will really struggle to pay taxes, even if you have wealth. Wealth got stuck in properties. And the liability of inheritance tax comes on to the beneficiaries. How will they pay? So these are big challenges and that percentage of inheritance tax from country to country it varies from 25% to 60%. So what percentage India government will bring, I really do not know. But all probability it will come. So if you have your wealth resided in private trust, I'm sure no one can touch from inheritance tax point of view. That's what, Shashank, I wanted to share today. I would urge if any one of you have any questions, at least with my personal experience, I'll be able to answer them. Not that I'm an expert, but I will try and answer them. Thank you very much.
Is there any question?
Sure, sure.
Can we pass the mic?
What is the benefit of having that private trust? It is a safeguard from the income tax point of view, basically. It's eliminating all the liabilities like a LLC or something. Means it cannot be challenged in court or something. What is it exactly? I just wanted you to clarify that.
I talked about income tax or inheritance tax that I spoke about is the last thing that I spoke. There are many other advantages of creating a private trust and creating wealth in a private trust. So I told about estate planning. Estate planning in a structured, in a proper formalized way so that you can think of your wealth to be transferred to non-capable person, illiterate person, non-family member persons, your daughters, their children, all that you can plan for number of years, unborn babies, all that, but that is not possible through a will. So that is one, estate planning. It protects your asset because whatever business or profession that you are in, you might give various personal guarantees, various places, right? Yeah, so whereas from the trust you will not give. So if the wealth is resided in a trust, your all assets, wealth is protected. I talked about preserving family values. So if there is some restriction on the beneficiaries to get money, I'm sure our family values that we believe are must will get preserved. Likewise, you can plan your philanthropic interest also for various, for very, very long periods. So there are, if you sit across, I think with your lawyers also, it will take couple of weeks or couple of months to finally frame that. All I'm saying is, if we create or preserve wealth in a private trust, then an individual file or a private company is better.
Yeah.
Is it possible to create more than one private trust? One trust for the family, maybe one trust for the philanthropy, absolutely different. trustees and different part, because as Jains, you know, we all have temples, and maybe we don't know our family in the future will be so much dedicated as what we are. I think you are a Jain, you know, our upashrayas and all, we want them to run in the way.
So,
So is it possible to create more
course,
than
of course.
2 or 3 trusts?
yeah,
And
of
in a
course.
lighter tone, one for girlfriends, you know.
So, we are talking about two trusts. One is family trust, other is charitable trust. The one that you mentioned about your philanthropic interest or like being Jains, we contribute to various places. For that, your charitable trust can suffice, and you should not club that in a private trust. Private trust is like maintaining individual file. And coming to your another question for your girlfriends, I have created trust for her also.
Yeah. Sir, one more question, sir. Speaker, sir, and even Sashank, sir. Can you explain us about living will?
Thank you.
Yeah,
A
living will.
living will was something which was not, let me put it this way. You are suffering from a perpetual disease, or you're suffering from something where you want to give up your life. You want to suicide, simple language. But you do not have a right to take your own life according to law. And therefore, when a person wanted to give up his life, there was nothing. I mean, sati was one of those things which was there in the past, but it was an offense. It is a criminal offense. So the government went into a provision where a living will has been allowed, where a person says that if I go through a particular phase in life, if I am in an ICU for damn 25 days, 30 days, or if I am put on a ventilator for damn 15, 20 days, I don't want to suffer myself. I don't want my family members to suffer. At that point of time, my living will is issued, or it has been published, and at this point of time, I want the plug to be pulled. Allow me to die in dignity. That is what is a living will, sir. Sorry. No, it is made earlier. It's a will, yaar. So a will is something which you want to happen in the future. So what we just spoke of is wills for your properties, your assets. But here is a will for yourself. That if I am going through this position, then this is what I want to do. This is how it ought to go. Yeah. I mean, it is in contemplation of if I get sick, then there it is. And Darshan, also to speak that there are some government authorities where you need to go ahead and register this and record this as a will. Yeah, thank you, Darshan.
Okay, just coming back to the wealth, how do you transfer your personal money into a trust? Okay. Yeah.
So, I'm not an expert on that, but what we have done, there are discretionary will, there are non-discretionary wills, and in discretionary will, you can transfer your liquid wealth without attracting anything. If you want to transfer your real estate or properties, then the incidence of capital gains tax and the stamp duty will arise. We may go slow by slow, but I'm saying at least whatever liquid that you have, get it transferred, and the future wealth that you are likely to generate, have that transferred.
That doesn't attract any duty, income tax.
You know, all of us take care of our families so dearly, and a lot of us run our own family businesses where our staff and our key people are also very important. Do you, as a person who's running a professional group like Navneet, what do you do for your key staff people? Do you treat them the same way as your family members?
Yes. So we are a little bit not talking about the trust factor, but your question is how do we treat our very senior people? So we incentivize with ESOPs. We make them partners in the companies where they are taking interest, and therefore at a right age of probably their retirement, they'll have enough accumulated wealth in their hands. So that practice we are following.
Okay.
Yes.
Earlier, there was always a senior person in the family who used to take care and settle the issues. Now, I think as the age goes, the similar age group, how do you manage those ego clashes, the power angle, like the managing director position, the director position? So, how easy and how difficult it is?
If discussed in detail logically, there is a solution for that, I'm sure. I also agree with you that first generation, when they start together, there is only one word, hum saath hain. When it comes to second generation, that dilutes a bit. When it comes third generation, it further dilutes. So there are challenges, and for that, this understanding is must. Not that at Navneet also we don't have these issues. It does come in, because all individuals are influenced by many other factors, including their spouses and including their in-laws. So that does come in. So, but yes, we believe that if we are from the same blood, if talked logically internally, the issues can get resolved. One another very, very small, minute thing that we have implemented in our family, that if any family member has an issue, of course they know which person should they go to, but simultaneously we have made a practice, sab likho, likh ke aap complain karo aapki. I have observed that when person writes, uska आधा ego, आधा गुस्सा ठंडा हो जाता है, and clarity becomes more. So even that has helped our family. But that will come. Family resolution, any conflict resolution clause also should be there in your understanding, so that, or usme you can always, you can write up to that if family can't resolve, then you identify very, very senior members of your community to help you resolve that issue. What I'm trying to say, Anilji, that if we have such kind of document, that will get minimized. You can't avoid. Everything can get minimized. Yes, please.
One last suggestion to the committee members, that we have heard from Sunil Bhai and the lawyers how to take care of people after we die and get care of him. Next time you invite him to speak, how to create the wealth in the first place.
Like Navneet.
Sunil bhai, just a question. Like in a corporate world, what we have called is the standard operating procedures.
what you have created is, do I understand from what it is a family-owned SOP. So every issue that is there or could rise up, you have a solution written down in 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Either you follow step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But you have built up a SOP in distributing wealth, creating wealth, and the way of working, and every activity. So basically, what you've done is a family-owned SOP manual that you have written down, and that's how it is going to be. To sum it up, do I understand that?
That's right, that's right. So just for the information, nothing on the topic that I spoke about, but the interest of Rotary, what each and every Rotary does, I am happy to tell you all that we were recently felicitated by the Governor of Maharashtra for, in last 10 years, we implemented digital education in 8,000 government schools, benefiting more than 1 million students. We did teachers training for more than 30,000 teachers in last 5 years. And for that we were felicitated. But it is just for an interest to all the Rotarians because you all do this day in and day out. Thank you.
I'll request Kanan to give vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Bombay Bayview, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Gala for the enlightening presentation on wealth management. You gave us some amazing insights on how to manage family business, not just managing wealth, managing SOPs, like he rightly said, estate planning, family values. Your insights into transforming challenges into opportunities were not only thought-provoking, but also incredibly practical. The strategies you shared on wealth management and on family business management will undoubtedly inspire us all to re-evaluate our approaches and empower us to make more informed financial decisions, especially about the will. That was very interesting because I just went through the will procedure for my parents, and I can tell you it's a Herculean task, so that was very insightful. Thank you for taking the time to share your expertise and experiences with us today. We appreciate your contribution to our club, and we look forward to implementing all these lessons that you've imparted. Thank you for coming here today. Thank you so much.